Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grumman Pilot's YouTube channel. And today is Hangar Flying, episode 17. And we have a mixed bag of tricks for you. And as you can see from all the pictures, we're going to be talking about the Project Tiger. We've got some other fun topics for you too, but talking about the Project Tiger, all that we've done to it, and what we've got coming up in just the next couple of weeks, not to mention the fun stuff. So stay tuned.
So we would like to ask you, please subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notify to stay current with our content.
Okay, and the carburetor is back from Marvel Shriveler, and they took care of all the problems with the AD, and they did a new overhaul on it since it was a new carburetor in 2008, and it has never really been used. They fixed the AD for $250, and let's see, $1,000 for the overhaul, $25 for some miscellaneous gaskets, so $1,275 to have that carburetor re-overhauled. And we have taken it today to the engine shop, and it's going to be put on the airplane and away to go for the test stand. So that takes care of the carburetor. Now, while we were on the carburetor, we also decided to take advantage of the fact that when you overhaul an engine, you actually do need to put a new mixture cable, a new throttle cable, as well as all the other stuff that's called out. So we ordered from Aircraft Spruce an Alcor vernier mixture cable. When you go to cut these, you want to cut them with a die grinder. That way you don't affect the roundness of the cable, and use a file to take the burrs off. But it's a nice cable. It's $172.75 plus shipping, and you go ahead and you put it on your airplane, and it looks darn nice when you get it in there because it's not faded orange like a lot of our mixture controls. So it looks pretty nice. Now, one of the other projects we're doing as part of the Project Tiger engine upgrade is we've ordered the new Lord Mount J9613-59s. These are the more expensive isolation mounts, and the set of 4 that we ordered for the project airplane, as well as for the customer's airplane that was also getting his engine redone this last month. So you're looking at about $1,100 with shipping and insurance for a set of the Lord mounts of the -59s. Now, you do have the Berry mounts, and the Berry mounts have a different construction. Instead of having an isolation gel pack on the inside, what they have is they just have a bar to transfer the load from one face to the other. So that difference allows a lot of vibration to come through. Now, again, the Berry mounts are cheaper, but you don't want to really be transferring that vibration. So here we go looking at a Berry mount, and you can see the posting right there in the center that transfers the load from one side to the other. Now, let's go and look at the Lord mount, and you can see instead of having that post, we're going to have a silicone gel pack, as well as we point out that we have a Grumman part there, so don't lose them when you take your old ones out. But anyway, the motor mounts are nice to have. They keep, and they wear for a long time. Be sure to save your special spacers, but you want to get them oriented right, and you don't want to let them dry out, because what you want to do is you want to isolate the engine vibration from the rest of the aircraft. And once you get new Lord mounts on the aircraft, and then at that point, once the engine's back on, all the accessories done, and you've got an hour or so on the new engine, that's about the time you want to think about dynamically balancing the propeller to get the smoothest operation. Now, this does 2 things. One, it reduces the wear on the engine and the airframe from no transmitted vibration through the airframe. The second thing it does, it doesn't wear the motor mounts that much. They don't vibrate as much. They're not doing as much work. So anyway, all things to consider when you do the engine. And you know, if you read the FAA regs and you talk about an engine overhaul, the sheer volume of stuff that you have to replace is pretty daunting, and it just about equals what it costs to have the engine redone. So anyway, when you go to do your motor mounts, pay the extra money, get the Berries. They're going to be on, get the Lord-59s. They're going to be on the airplane for 45 more years. So you might as well get some good motor mounts with that new engine and help it keep all nice and smooth operation. And I think you'll find your fatigue level goes down. Be sure to take all the paperwork that comes with it and apply it to your aircraft records. That proves that you're conforming with the regulations, and we hope you found that useful. Now with the new engine, you're also going to take the baffles, and you're going to take them and strip them and clean them and paint them, and then you're going to want to put some new baffle seals on the aircraft. That way you're going to make sure that when you're operating the aircraft that it's going to be nice and cool, and you're not going to have any air leaks, and that's going to force all the air coming in through your air inlets to cool the aircraft, and that's going to help for the longevity of your engine. Now these are baffle seal kits that in this case Matt can tell you he had to go take some baffle seal material in our templates for the Tiger and cut out a full set so that we could put the new baffles on the new baffle seals on the Tiger as part of getting the engine ready to go back into the Project Tiger. And then also too, with the baffle seals, we also began the process with the baffles. Now you can call up Airform up in the Northwest and order some baffle seal kits, or just the one piece or two that you need, or you can get some aluminum and you can go into the shear and you can make a couple for yourselves. But whatever you need. In a lot of cases what you're going to wind up doing is patching and repairing what you have, and then that all goes in before you reallodyne it and prime it and repaint it. But anyway, you can make them up yourselves, and they Airform up and they do sell a full kit, so it's not too hard to get a hold of them, and they make good templates. And again, just get some good grade aluminum, 32/40 thousandths, whatever you like, and that way you won't have any flexing in the baffles. And be sure you be careful that you make sure the baffles, the pieces that need to be one part and the pieces that need to be two part, and you very rarely ever see a piece that goes over 2 cylinders, because believe it or not, those cylinders do vibrate when the engine runs, and that can cause some cracking in your baffles, so avoid that. And then once you have all the baffles all painted and primed and repaired, as you can see here, some of the repairs will show through the paint. It depends on how much budget you have for how good you want your baffles, and this is not going to be a show aircraft, so they look pretty fine, and the owner was happy with that. And then after they're all painted and primed and everything, then you begin the process of putting the baffle seals on them, drilling out the holes and popping them together. And then when that is done, this is what the engine is going to look like. It's going to look pretty nice at this point, because you've got all new baffle seals. The baffles are all painted a nice consistent color, and that comes in really handy when you have things that are leaking, because when they hit something with a light color like that, they make a stain, and you get to see right where they are. Also too, with the carburetor and the mixture cable, we decided to take advantage of the fact that this airplane was not equipped with a trailer ball throttle linkage. Instead, we have the ball bearing one, but we bought a couple of extras to have in the shop. We're going to put a new one on the Project Tiger, but we're going to also keep the other ones for spares for people who come in that are having a problem with their our Tiger throttle staying connected to the carburetor. And this way we have all the hardware, and we have these new things. And in the grand world of aviation parts, those little throttle bushings right there, they're not all that expensive. They're $9 a piece or so. Not very bad price. Of course, you still have to pay shipping, but in the aviation world, that's a bargain. The other thing that we had come in this week is we had a metal check dye penetrant kit that we bought from Aircraft Spruce. Now this entire kit comes in a metal container. It's bright red to help you find it. Kind of a replacement for the cast or molded black plastic that the kit was in before. The same materials are there. You get the 4 cans, you get the brush, and you get the little handle. So that the parts have not changed, but just their casing and their container have, and they're fairly nice. And we bought another one of these, not that we've used up our other one, but we kind of owed it to Jimmy Candiletti, because he said I was an Indian giver and borrowed it back, and then I bought this one for us to give him his back, and guess what, we don't need it. But anyway, what you get in here is you get 2 cans of cleaner, then you get the material penetrant, and then you get the developer. And when all that's together, at the end of it, you can find a crack in a prop hub, you can find castings that have a crack in them. So it's a really good way for finding out cracks and die penetrant, and if you want, you can use them on your car parts too, like your cylinder heads and such. So it's a good system, and if you use it under a UV light, the cracks really do show up well. So that's not a bad deal. And again, I like this new case compared to this older case. The molded plastic is nice and easy to carry around and everything, but I think the metal one's going to be easier to find under the bench like we've been using it. And you use it just the same. You mechanically take all the paint off the prop face, then you go ahead and you clean it with the chemical, and then you put the developer on it, and then you let it go for a while. I'm sorry, the penetrant first, and then you put the developer on it, and then you clean that all off with a brush, and then you go back and you look for cracks. Now, the other fun thing we got to do this week is we got to build a pile of packages, and it was kind of a busy week. We had packages going out for air vents, but the really interesting about all the packages and parts that we do sell and find for folks is that unlike Fletch Air, we send packages to Canada, the EU or Europe, and we also send them down to Australia and New Zealand down in Oz. So we do a lot of international mailing. We've got all the forms and all for the customs, so we get all that filled out, and that way we get this merchandise on its way to you. Now, I apologize for the Postal Service right now in the world, but that's just what we have to live with. Now, here's something for you two-seaters, and that was a comment somebody made that, I cover a lot of stuff that's general to our airplanes, like our aircraft bearings, but I don't really ever do anything specific to the two-seater. Well, here you go. To help keep your baffle seals behind the back cylinder from being pushed open by the air, this is a baffle strap. It goes and wraps around a push rod tube, and that secures the baffle to the push rod tube with a spring so it can take a little bit of a load, but then your baffle remains up against the cowling like it's supposed to. You don't leak any air, and your engine run coolers. So there you go. There's a two-place part for those of you who thought that we could never have one for you. By the way, those are available on the company store, and we have them for sale, and we had one go out this week to a customer. So these are new, old stock, brand new. I hope you enjoy them. Now, we put up a lot of videos the last couple of days, processing on the new machine, color correcting them, fixing the audio, making a much better video, zooming in where we needed to on some of the video to make a much better video. And these are videos that came from like 1985, 1989, 1990, 1991, 1998. 2001, 2000. I mean, they all came back in time, and they are substantial videos. About 25 minutes for a normal video, and many of them are multi-parts, like a part 1 and a part 2. Larry Kennedy has 4 parts for Glen Falls. Ken Blackman made 7 parts for the same Glen Falls. So there's a lot of video out there, and you can just go to the channel and do a selection for looking at them. I'll let you look here at a few more. These are the ones that we found that are bringing up, and this takes care of all of our historical video that we have. And we'll move forward. We'll be doing the Hangar Flying series, and we'll be doing videos that we come across as we're working in the shop during the week, as well as what we answer for people on the phone. So I hope you like all these videos. It was kind of fun color correcting them, and they look a lot better.
Well, this is the front part of the ramp here at AY 89, Telemark Lodge, Cable, Wisconsin. Airplanes start turning around the corner down here and go clear down to the other end of the runway and start coming back again. Quite a collection. This is Tuesday morning, and several people, I guess, are still trying to get in from the East Coast. Tent there, we have some refreshments and everything set up. Garbird.
Oh,
Just tooling back and forth.
they wouldn't let us even take this one, hardly.
Bring the other two back. Hey, why did you just rent them for the 3 days? You know what? I could be smoother on the runway.
Well,
Right there,
it
do
might,
that?
It might
Yeah.
get upset. Nobody's out. I thought that thing started already.
Normally we got this many 2 or 3 days before the thing starts. So.
I don't know. I said it painted the same color as the grass or something.
A lot of haze out there, but I guess visibility's not all that bad.
Painted dandelions on it or something. No power backup. Not like a private strip. It looked like an airport, except the only turn-off place and everything was one big giant house. And you could easily operate a King Air out of that or something. Somebody go on a mountain, put an airport on the top of it for their house.
Okay, once you get the mountain.
Yeah, and the road put in.
Okay, first aircraft on the firewall forward judging here is 23 Juliet Kilo, Roscoe Roche.
Okay. But it's well waxed. We're just cleaning off junk. Okay, first thing to check is appearance and organization. Clean, neat, well organized, maintained.
Morning if that person might be here.
Stuck.
Here, let me just pull the cord.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were ready to go. Where?
That's all right. Yeah, probably fine right now.
And then we took look. Okay, what's the space? Okay. I'm gonna run.
That's false traffic.
Okay, hey, hold the sign up there, Roscoe.
Man, we beat the chairs.
There we go. We are beginning the coverage of AYA 2003 at St. Simons Island, Georgia. And we're here a couple of 3 days early. A few airplanes here. Roscoe with the official welcoming sign.
And door prizes.
And the door prizes. Boy, I tell you, would you believe...
beer. And the down beer.
Would you believe all that stuff there came out of that Tiger? And Roscoe, too?
Oh, that's not the toolboxes and the computers.
Oh, yeah, he's still... he's still loaded. He's still loaded.
they're doing that thing's there.
Hello, Pascal. Been here the whole time on pause. What a dork.
Glad I didn't call you son of a bitch.
Don't talk about your wife. Beg pardon?
Really famous now?
Almost.
Having to jump off.
I scream like a little girl. I see. Morning, Bob. Nation. And they're doing a break. Come on, Win. Quit making me do that.
Well, let's see if
Hey, Charlie.
There you go, Charlie.
Smile. A surviving convention chair. A rare breed in itself.
I'll talk about breed.
I'm sorry to hear about that. They've been taking you off of stud duty, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
One came up and kind of hovered right in front of me.
Hoping to be fed.
Just about yesterday.
Hey! Hey, Claude, I understand we're doing a duet tomorrow.
Yeah, but we're going to talk to somebody about crashes tomorrow.
We're going to talk to people about what happens when you go to get power out of your engine and it says,
What time are we going to do that?
We're going to do that on Wednesday, I believe.
What time?
I think we are 2:30 to 3:30.
Now, we put out about 30 videos using the new machine, and we'll talk about that in another video. But we had a lot of videos that we put out, and it covered things like Fredericksburg, Green Valley, flying into that, Sacramento, Pierce Valley, Cable, 1985, wherever that was. We had a lot of video that we came across, and so the nice thing about all that was that we were able to bring it down. We found it as part of our NAS move, and we were able to take these videos, and these are substantial videos. They're about 25 minutes each. So like you take 2007 that Ken Blackman shot, we have 7 25-minute videos, part 1 through part 7. Larry Kennedy also supplied some video to us, and we have chapter 1 through 4 of him. Same thing with Sacramento, same thing with Fredericksburg. Claude Allen donated video. So we have a lot of video that was out there. And then as part of doing that, we hum removal, noise pop removal, and we did color correction and then color grading all the way across the board. So I think you'll find the videos look pretty nice. Not bad for videos though that old. Now, when you're doing an overhaul, there's a lot of things you also have to do along with the overhaul. All the accessories, everything basically firewall forward has to be done. And that can be a lot of minutia that a lot of people don't know about. They're thinking, I just paid for the overhaul, but they're not thinking cables, battery box rebuild, electrical port rebuild, firewall forward being finished, motor mount being done. These are all things that you have to do. I mean, usually what you do is you'll end up pulling everything off the front, painting it with a good coat of Imron, and then begin putting everything back together in its appropriate spot. And in this case, taking these very old engine electrical cables that were original on the 75 Tiger, and what we're doing is we're taking those off and we're going to be replacing them with newer cables with the Teflon and everything, so they're not going to wear as badly. Also, all the connectors, and as you can see, we found quite a few insects in some of the connectors. But here's the new cable with all new hardware and all new connectors, all installed on the airplane. So you just begin that part of process of rebuilding everything. And then here's the battery box shield where it was coming unglued. We took it apart, cleaned it, glued it all back together, and then we used paint strips and clothespins to hold it together while the glue dried. And we did that on all the sides, and when it was all done, it was a nice looking battery box shield. Now, in retrospect, we should have painted it, but we just left it bare aluminum. And then we did the same thing with the aux power port. We took that power port off the airplane and we took it completely apart. We replaced all the hardware, we cleaned all the metal, we painted everything, we cleaned all the connectors with steel wool, and then we put it all back together. So now we have a good working motor mount, and it doesn't look anything like this. And as you can see, we took it inside, set it down on a table, and just worked the pants off it. The cables all had to be replaced, all the connectors were bad, all the metal had to be polished and shined, and quite a bit of work. But you know what? We're not going to have to worry about it again for another 50 years. So that's the plus side. And then you're also going to be taking the cowling. You're going to be cleaning the inside on the metal so that you can shoot some white Imron. And the advantage of shooting the white Imron on the cowling and on the firewall, unless you have the stainless steel firewall, is that any leaks that you have, whether they be fuel or whether they be oil, they're going to show up fairly quickly on the cowling, and that's going to give you a hint that there's something going on. So let's see if I can tie all this together. As part of a customer coming in, we looked at his engine by looking at each of the different cylinders, and part of that is you take the spark plugs out, we go in and we look at all the valves, both the intake and the exhaust, looking for any anomalies. And what we found was that we weren't having the proper compression, so we ended up having to pull the cylinder off. So let's talk a little bit about your cam and your cam lobes. Bodies here are the cam in the new case, on them. And the thing with the cam is that now these pictures are from a bore scope, and they're showing the basics of cam distress, and the engine's going to have to be overhauled right on the tappet inside the engine. And they're going to be a little hard to see, but we did throw some labeling on some of the things. And here you can see a cam lobe as it's pushing on the tappet body. And again, you can see quite a lot inside of an engine when you remove one cylinder. Now this is a very nice shot. There's a cam lobe on the top hitting the tappet face. And again, the tappet faces are made out of a low carbon steel, which makes them malleable, which means it will form. And the cam lobes are made out of a medium copper steel, so that they are hard with an engine management system, as well as not the toughness of the here's the cautionary tappet tale on bodies. that. So this is what goes on inside the engine. And as you can see here, there's oil on a lot of stuff. But again, you will be able to see a lot of your engine by just removing that one thing. What we're looking for is what we're seeing on this cam lobe right there. See those striations? Those are bad. Now, one of the reasons why we see marks like this on the cam lobe standpoint,
globe is
could have paid
because
for the better,
they've warned
bigger unit,
the surface
and
has
with more
gotten pitted
features,
with corrosion
and it
from
wouldn't have
some
cost you
period of
any more.
inactivity.
So
The
that
oil
happens quite a
film
bit.
has worked
But
off of
anyway,
the cam
you
lobe,
don't like
and
happen
now
when you have
corrosion can
engine
begin
come
with
in,
little bits of rust in
and
that
you look
hard
at it, and
surface,
that's when you
and
have
it
to
creates
deliver
little
bad
pits, and then
news.
it chips, and it comes
Thankfully,
away,
this
and it
engine
falls
was
off
okay.
the cam lobe.
We were able
And
to
once you have
it
that
done
happening,
and get a quick
it's not going to be
turnaround,
really
hanging
nice
the
for
new
your
engine on
engine.
there. Got the motor
Let's
mounts
take a
in,
look here.
got
The
the
tappet
hoses,
body
the
is
new
usually
cable all
what's going
installed.
to
So
deform
all in
first,
all,
and as you can see
not a
here, there
bad
was
deal.
quite a bit of
But, you know, when you
deformation
start
in that
looking at,
tappet.
these
And
things
once the
in the
tappet is
airplane, you
rough,
start thinking,
then
okay,
when you get the pressure,
forget
which is the
price
highest
of what your
pressure the engine
costs.
sees with a
Then you
cam
start
lobe
looking
opening
at,
the valves for
you do
operation,
your
that's
baffles
going to
and your
start wearing the
seals, and
cam
you start
lobe,
looking at
it's
all
going to
those
start
accessories that have to
striking
be
it, it's
overhauled,
going to
and
start
the motor
wearing
mounts
that,
that
and
have
it's
to
going to
be
wear
replaced.
down.
And all the
The
different
bad
little
thing
bits and
about our
pieces,
Lycoming
like,
engines is
stripping
that
down
that
the motor
one
mount,
intake
checking for
lobe
cracks,
does the
repairing
intake
any
for a
fine
cylinder on
welding
each side of the
properly, and
engine.
then,
So you've got one
repainting.
lobe that
But
opens
when you
valves
start
on
doing
both
all of
sides of the
that,
engine,
you start
and when
finding
that
out
valve
here you go,
wears,
1100
the
here,
engine doesn't
1100
breathe
there,
well
850
anymore.
here, blah, blah,
So
blah.
like
When
we
you're
said in
all
the
done, you're
title,
gonna
this
wind
started
up at
out
about
to be we were going to pull a cylinder
$11,000
off the
for
airplane,
all these
we're going to
accessories.
send to the shop,
That's if
we're
you
going to
don't
have the
add
valves
anything else,
relapped,
like
we're
you
going
don't
to
have to
check
add
the rings,
ADSB,
maybe
or you're not putting in
dingle
an
bearing
engine
behind the
management
cylinder
system.
and put it back
That
in
will,
for another
ratchet up the
break-in.
cost for you.
But
But
when
that
you have a problem that you
$11,000
see like
is a
this on
good
your
general
engine as
ballpark
a shop,
price,
that
and
once
that,
we see
again,
the
does not
damage,
include
we
the
can't
cost of
sign
your
the airplane
engine.
off for an
So
annual.
if you can
So this
work out a
customer
deal
came
on an
in
engine for
looking
like
to have a single
37,000,
cylinder done, and he's going to be in for a
I'm
whole
sorry,
new engine.
27,000,
But again,
you know,
once
for
you look in the engine
$38,000, you're
and
gonna
you
be
see
able
something,
to
you have to
cover all of
react
that.
to it.
So
And
there were
ladies
some
and
big
gentlemen,
ones in there,
fly
like you're
your
gonna wanna
airplane a lot.
have
That's
a
what's really
professionally
good for them.
engined,
Keep them
removed, and
lubricated. Don't let them
reinstalled
sit
until
for a
we get
long
all
time
these
unless
things
they've been
for us.
properly
So
pickled.
anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
Lycoming has
I
all
hope
these
you found
procedures.
all this
So
useful and
again, we
informative.
hope you found
Thanks
all
so much
this
for
useful and
watching, and have a
informative.
great day
Thanks so
flying
much
your
for
Grumman.
watching, and have a great day flying your Grumman. Freckles, our cat supervisor, and we'd like to introduce the new cats to you. We have Hopscotch there on the left. The other small ginger is Tarzan. He came with that name, and his sister will be popping up in just a second, and her name is Sweet Pea. These are the new cats that we've adopted into our home. It's going to be a nice little family, and we're having a ball. Thanks for watching.